Welcome to Louise Stories, where we dive into the wildest Reddit tales, from creepy encounters to jaw-dropping confessions. I'll be narrating, reacting, and sharing my thoughts on these insane stories. So stick around. Some stories will make you laugh, some will give you chills, and some, well, they'll make you question humanity. But one thing's for sure, you don't want to miss them. If you love binge-worthy Reddit stories, make sure to like this video and subscribe. My goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, and you can help me get there. Let's build this community together. I showed my family how to pleasure myself as a kid, and it's still haunting me at 30.
So, when I was around 10 or 11, I stumbled onto something that felt incredible, innocently OFC. It was during a big family gathering, Thanksgiving, or maybe a birthday, I can't quite recall. The house was buzzing with relatives, aunts gossiping, uncles arguing about football, cousins running around, and me, this curious little kid, just wandering near the dining room table. That's when it happened. I brushed up against the corner of the table in just the right way, and holy fuck. This jolt of pure secret bliss shot through me. I'd discovered something amazing, I figured. In my innocent pre-teen brain, I didn't think, this is private. Nope. I thought, everyone needs to know about this right now. So picture this. I climbed up onto a chair, gathered my family around like I was about to unveil a magic trick, and said, "Hey, I've got a secret to show you." They all shuffled over, probably expecting something cute or silly. Instead, I hoisted myself up, positioned my vagina right on the table corner, and started rubbing myself against it, back and forth, grinning ear to ear. "See? It feels super good," I announced, like I just invented sliced bread. The reaction: instant chaos. Dead silence at first, like you could hear a pin drop. Then my mom's face went beet red. My dad coughed and looked at the ceiling, and my aunt started muttering excuses to leave the room. My cousins just gawked, some giggling, others confused. Someone yanked me off the table so fast I almost fell, and the adults scrambled to change the subject. I didn't get why everyone was freaking out. To me, I just shared a cool life hack. Fast forward to this week. I'm 30 now, living my adult life, when my older brother decides to drop a bomb at family dinner. "Hey, remember that time you gave us the table demo?" he says, smiling like a fool. The whole table erupts in laughter, and I'm sitting there, fork frozen midair, feeling that same hot wave of embarrassment crash over me. It's been decades, and I still wanted to melt into the floor. I can laugh about it now, kinda. But there's still this lingering cringe that won't quit. I mean, who does that? I guess it's taught me to keep some secrets to myself, but fuck, that memory hits hard. Posting this here feels like a way to finally shake it off. Anyone else got a childhood mortification that still creeps up on them, or can relate to me in literally any way? Please. Damn, that's next level childhood embarrassment. Kids are naturally curious and don't have the same social awareness as adults, so you genuinely thought you were just sharing something cool. It's wild how something so innocent at the time turned into a lifelong cringe memory. Honestly, the way your family still brings it up is rough, but at least they're laughing about it instead of making it a huge deal. If anything, it just proves how much kids don't understand boundaries until they're taught. You were just being a curious kid with no shame, until adulthood handed you a big old dose of it years later. If it helps, everyone has a WTF was I thinking childhood moment. Yours is just a bit more extreme. But hey, at least you can kind of laugh about it now. I was in a long-term abusive relationship with a famous person. I don't even know what I'm allowed to disclose, so I'm gonna try to be careful to not reveal anything. I will be using a him pronouns. Not to indicate their gender, I just want to make my post simpler to comprehend. Please bear with me, this is going to be very long, but I cannot go another second without talking about this to someone. Some background on how it started. I met him when I worked part-time for a catering company when I was in college for a private event that he was hosting a few years ago. He recognized some of the catering staff, including me, when we catered for another party that he had around 2 months after my first time working for him. So he asked some of the staff members to stay overtime, which we're absolutely not allowed to do, but I was only scheduled for one more event before I stopped working for that company, so it wasn't a big deal. So only a few of us agreed to, and we stayed over for no more than 2 hours max. I talked to him individually towards the end of the night and we exchanged numbers. He invited me over after he flew back from LA around 2 weeks after we last talked, and I was asked to sign an NDA, so I pretty much understood what was going to happen that night, even though he's not publicly out of the closet. The contract was very strict, but there was absolutely no way I wasn't going to sign it, since I did know him prior to working his event. He's a pretty well-known star in Hollywood, and he's part of a mega-huge movie franchise that I loved when I was younger, and was part of one of my favorite shows ever. And it helps that he's pretty attractive, so it was hard to say no to this opportunity. We spent nights together occasionally, like once a week, sometimes twice. Even though he allegedly was seeing someone at the time, he's still seeing that person, I believe. I think it was around the 5-month mark when I started noticing some red flags. He would pressure me into skipping other commitments and coming over even though I had a lot of schoolwork at the time. He would also pressure me into drinking even though I legally couldn't drink yet. And he's significantly older than me, and he very much looks it. So his obsession with trying to be young and acting like a F-boy in his early 20s is pretty embarrassing. Naturally, as I spent more time with him, we kinda developed a more intimate relationship. So he kinda started to split his time between his partner and I. Apparently, the partner didn't know about me since he was filming pretty often at the time, and they weren't spending much time together. After a few months, he started being angry with me all the time, and he sometimes got physical with me. He even forced me once to try drugs so he can try to get intimate with me because we weren't having sex for like a month. I now developed a phobia of medication or any type of hallucinogens. When I threatened to leave him, he would start accusing me of cheating on him and started screaming at me until I broke down. He also accused me of selling stories about how he's in a fake PR relationship with his partner and that he cheats on them with escorts. This was a constant problem that happened well over 10 times. I started getting very stressed, and people around me in school and at work were noticing how irritable and panicked I constantly was. He also was very controlling and required that I have my location on at all times, which nobody ever asked me to do prior to meeting him, so I felt like I was constantly being watched. I have to admit that I did talk about him to my closest friends only, which he later found out about and held over my head for months. The way he went about it was pretty insane though. He started threatening to sue and make my family go broke, even though I assured him that these are longtime friends of over 10 years and would never tell anyone. Partly because I'm not out myself, only my friends know. The moment I did decide I was absolutely done with him was when I found out that he's been filming us being intimate, something that I never consented to and would never be okay with. Obviously, he did not care and tried to force me to stay until he started hitting me and punched my stomach real hard that the wind knocked out of me, then proceeded to force himself on me against my will. The next morning, he kicked me out and blocked me everywhere. But not before saying that he wanted nothing to do with this relationship and that we should both move on with our lives. I had to stay with my best friend for an entire week where I was just crying without a single break, and my family were worried sick because I normally don't go more than 2 days without seeing them. Now I'm dealing with severe anxiety and panic disorder that's just taken over my life. We ended our relationship right after I graduated from college, so I didn't have an opportunity to look for a job due to my mental state. And I cannot support myself. So I'm staying with my family, but they don't know anything other than I'm dealing with a lot mentally. I hate that he's perceived as kind when he's the exact opposite. I also hate how he's been literally everywhere recently, at every major film event, recently acting all innocent and fake. I had to delete my Twitter account because I kept seeing tweets about him at recent big award shows and I can't even stomach looking at his face. Thankfully, I don't hear about him in my day-to-day life. But I saw posters the other day of a movie he's in which made me want to throw up. Another thing he completely ruined for me? I can't stand watching movies anymore because it was literally his entire personality the entire time we were together. I promise your deep knowledge of film history and shitty acting will not land you that Oscar you so desperately want. The Academy will never take you seriously. I can't talk to anyone about this except for pretty close friends that are aware of my sexuality. I'm not out to my family, so they just see what a wreck I've been the past couple of months, and there's no way to explain my situation without them finding out about my sexual history. I can't even see a lawyer without my parents since I cannot afford it, and there's no way I could ever involve them in this. They already think that I'm potentially on drugs due to my state recently since I barely eat and always sit alone at home. I don't know much about the law, TBH, but what I do know is that I don't have the means to pursue this legally. and I absolutely cannot risk my religious family ever finding out and disowning me. I honestly feel like I would rather jump from a cliff than deal with my current mental state. Part of me just wants to say fuck this shit, and to go public with everything that happened and fuck up my life cause it already kinda is. But I know that I will not have a home to come to when my family finds out about this. I'm 100% sure I don't exist to that man, so it just pisses me off that he gets to have this great life while I'm the one that has to deal with the repercussions. It's absolutely unfair. The most difficult thing to admit to myself was that I allowed someone to abuse me to that extent, and still chose to stay with them. I feel so stupid in hindsight. I was hoping to find support or community here and see what I can do to cope with what happened to me. So if you have any advice in that regard, please I beg you to share. This is incredibly heartbreaking, and I'm really sorry you had to go through this. No one deserves to be treated like that, especially by someone who had so much power over you. It's frustrating and unfair that he gets to live his life freely while you're left with the trauma. You didn't allow this to happen. You were manipulated, controlled, and abused by someone who took advantage of your trust and vulnerability. Abusers are experts at making their victims feel trapped, and the fact that you got out at all is a testament to your strength. Right now, your mental health is the priority. If legal action isn't an option, focus on healing, therapy, even if online or anonymous, support groups, and leaning on trusted friends. If you ever feel like you're at a breaking point, please reach out to crisis support. You deserve to heal and reclaim your life. You are not alone in this. Even if it feels impossible now, you will get through this. Found GF of 5 years on a sugar baby dating website. Been with my 30 male girlfriend, 29 female for 5 years, most of which has been pretty volatile. I was a pretty nasty alcoholic for the first few years and didn't pay my girlfriend enough attention. I got cheated on in my previous relationship of 8 years and probably wasn't ready to date seriously when I started seeing my current girlfriend. Last December, I hit rock bottom and tried to intentionally OD on street benzos, alcohol, NyQuil, Benadryl, and anything else I could find. I ended up in a severe psychosis in which I destroyed almost all of my personal belongings and did some other insane things that I don't remember, thank God. I finally came to as I being wheeled into a psych ward on a 5150 the next day. The experience was something I don't wish upon anybody, and it was brutal enough to make me get my act together and get sober. Upon getting out, my best friend was imploring for me to not get back with my GF, as he blamed her for my downward spiral. I told him off, and we got into a big fight in which he called me a shitty friend and called me pathetic and all other kinds of shit. I ended up choosing my girlfriend over my friends and cut contact with my friends and focus on my sobriety and repairing my relationship. I haven't talked to any of my friends in over 3 months now. Well, today, my girlfriend was at work and left her iPad at home. I don't know why, but I decided to snoop. I looked through her saved passwords and saw accounts many burner encrypted texting apps like WeChat, Signal, Hushed. I saw she had multiple Instagram and Snapchat profiles that I didn't know about. And I also saw that she has an account for a dating site called Secret Benefits. I made an account on the site and was able to track down her profile pretty easily. The profile doesn't seem to have been touched for a year or two, but she was definitely active on it when we were dating. She had a profile verification video where she was whispering her, "It'll just be our secret." It makes me sick thinking about it. I wasn't brave enough to log into anything even though I had the passwords because I don't want her to find out due to any 2-factor authentication verifications and purge all the evidence. She's getting off work now and will be home in less than an hour. She just called me, and I had to pretend like nothing was wrong, but I feel numb, and I know things are going to go to absolute shit when I confront her. I just feel like giving up. It's like every time my life starts to go in a positive direction, everything just comes crashing down on me. Now I have no friends, and a girlfriend who has almost certainly cheated on me, gaslit me, and lied to my face. I'm just trying my best not to drink because I know it will only make things worse. Sorry for the rant. Please wish me luck. That's it for today's story. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss the next one. More Reddit stories coming soon. Stay tuned.